Good afternoon. So today I get to choose what I talk about in the digital media realm. I'm going to stick with social media. I know that I touched on it earlier, but earlier in a previous week. But what I want to focus on is how it's an extremely powerful branding tool. And I'm going to talk a bit about sports and how social media has affected sports and sports today. So if we look at, let's say, a guy like PK Subban, he plays for the Montreal Canadiens. He signed a $72 million contract over 8 years. So that's an average of $9 million a year. He's a big deal. He, for a few months, was preparing to release his site, pksubban.com, and he publicized it on his Instagram, on Twitter, and got other people to also promote it, other athletes or celebrities, and finally it got unveiled and it was a big deal. So I'll put the link to pksubban.com. But what I what is very important to understand about this is PK Subban fully acknowledges that he is a brand. PK Subban is a brand. And there's a very, very interesting Vice documentary. It's 8 minutes, 52 seconds. It's on YouTube. I'll also post the link to that. It's a very interesting documentary if you have the time to watch it. So he basically explains how he knows that he's in a city where hockey is like life. La ville c'est hockey. That's what we say in Montreal. There's a reason for that. And he understands that there's a mix of the old NHL and the new NHL. So the new NHL, the business, and the old NHL, the tradition. He plays for Le Bleu Blanc Rouge, Les Glorieux, Le Tricolore. Those are names that, when said in Montreal and around Quebec, your grandfather, your great-grandfather knows the legacy behind all that. And he embraces that in a very positive way, I think. And I think he's doing very well for himself and for the city of Montreal. He donated... it's basically a promise. It's $10 million over 7 years to the Montreal Children's Hospital. Montreal, we just built a huge super hospital, and I think there's a big giant children's wing in it. It's huge. It's a big building, and it's very, very beautiful. It took them like 20 years to build it or whatever. I don't know. It just kept getting postponed. They said it'll be ready by 2010, 2013, 2015. I think they're doing research there now, but it's not quite open yet. And basically all of the hospitals in Montreal are going to merge into the super hospital. Another example of how social media and athletes use it as their brand is if you look at Eugenie Bouchard. Eugenie Bouchard, she's a tennis champion. She's a big deal. She's 21 years old. She's from Montreal. She's from Westmount. She's a very, very, very pretty girl. She's a great athlete. And she was branded the queen of selfies because she, she posts a lot of selfies and got a lot of popularity of it because of it. She's a tennis champion. And she won a lot of competitions, but I think it's because that she's a very attractive young woman that, she has a huge following. She's now with Nike. She was in that awesome ad. I'll also post a link to this ad with all kinds of primetime Nike athletes like Gronk and Stamkos and other people. So her raising her popularity in terms of her social media definitely impacts how much different brands want to sponsor her, because her tweet and her Instagram post is worth something monetarily. It's worth money. Just like a PK Subban, just like a Cristiano Ronaldo. Obviously not to that extent, because a guy like Cristiano Ronaldo is like a god, and Armani, he's sponsored by all these crazy companies. His salary is millions. But it's crazy because I think it was... He's with Barcelona now. Barcelona, I think, paying him $100 million or $124 million. Something crazy. But there's another stat that's crazy, that it only took them like a week to make that much money back in jersey sales. Cristiano Ronaldo jersey sales. It took them a week to make back $100 million, over $100 million. So these organizations that pay these athletes all kinds of money, not only are they paying them for their services because he's a superstar, or PK Subban, $9 million on a $70 million cap hit for 22 to 25 players. That's a lot. That's a huge hit. But not only does he do a lot for them on the ice or on the field, if you look at Cristiano Ronaldo, but in the community, and the money that they make their brand, their corporation, is a lot more than that $9 million or that $100 million. He doesn't make $100 million a year, obviously. He does off of, sponsorships and everything, if you put all his net income together. There was a time where Tiger Woods made $100 million a year just off of Nike, and that didn't include Gillette, OnStar, and all the other brands that were with him. But all those other brands that weren't athletic dropped him once that whole scandal came through, because obviously it doesn't represent, because as him, when a brand like OnStar or Buick or Gillette sponsors an athlete, it's because of their image as opposed to their necessarily just their performance. So Nike kept him because he's still a top golfer, and it's good to have in their brand. But OnStar and all that, when there was the whole scandal when he cheated on his wife with numerous women, and then they all came out, they had to drop him for sure. But I don't feel sorry for the guy. Another thing that's interesting that I would maybe want to talk about, might as well, is it also has to do with this, is Carey Price, the goalie of the Montreal Canadiens. His wife, Angela Price, is now pregnant. It's a huge deal because Carey Price is a demigod in Montreal. He everywhere he goes, people, revere him and bow down to him. But man, is he good. But anyways, what happened was he told somebody that, his wife was pregnant, and that guy, not knowing, I think he's some sort of reporter or a blogger or something, he, spread the news. Carey Price is going to be a dad, and it was a huge deal in Montreal, and it's like, wow, our prince is going to be, or our king is having a prince. So it was a very happy moment. But Angela Price, Carey Price's wife, was very, very disappointed in this guy because she hadn't finished telling all her loved ones and her friends, and so she wrote a very hateful blog post about him. And I think that's very bad publicity, because she has to understand that her husband is like, she's not a regular guy. It would be crazy for her to think that, if it leaked out. Anyways, I think Carey Price didn't know that she hadn't finished telling anybody. So people made kind of a big deal out of it. And she apologized and everything. But it's just crazy. This stuff, I think it's amazing how, every little thing that you do at any moment on these social media platforms, if you're a celebrity, it can be used to your advantage, and it could also be used against you. Now, nobody likes Carey Price any less, although he hasn't looked too good the past two games. But I think it's fine. They're in the West. They'll get it out of their system. He's still such a dominant force, like nothing I've ever seen before in my lifetime. So that was another one of my vlogs. I hope you enjoyed. I like to talk about sports. Thanks.